Welcome, bienvenidos. This is Metamorphosis Rocks. My name is Roxanne, and today we're going to talk about a 50-year-old's views on celebrities. Today's Celebrity Thursday. Ignore the phone ringing in the background. And we're going to talk about we're on a theme this week. As y'all know, we are trying to get as many people to help Puerto Rico as possible. It's not just Puerto Rico. There's Virgin Islands that are territories of the United States. St. John and St. Thomas come to mind. There's a lot of islands in the Caribbean that just got decimated by hurricanes, two of them. And you don't have to donate to any one island in particular, but we are paying attention to Puerto Rico because, of course, I'm Puerto Rican. So, because I'm always talking about celebrities, today I'm going to talk about a couple of celebrities that I noticed, and most of them are going to be reality celebrities for very logical reason. Um, the biggest reality TV star in the planet right now went to Puerto Rico and didn't exactly do the best job of looking at the real issues of Puerto Rico. However, we have some really great celebrities and some reality TV stars that went to Puerto Rico this week, and this is what we have seen so far. And of course, this is always from the perspective of a 50-year-old. Now, most people love reality TV. I'm not a big fan because you know, I don't know how to explain it, but after a certain time in your life, you're really sick of drama. You don't want to deal with it. You have enough in your own. You don't need more on TV. Um, some people don't have that opinion. That's why soap operas in English and in Hispanic countries, soap operas are like the big deal. And when people retire, they love to watch their soap operas. So I guess I'm not the typical person. Whenever I retire, I'm probably not going to be the typical person either. But to me, it's one of those things where I don't even want to hear my own drama, let alone somebody else's. But reality TV has become a great place to look at other people's drama. And I am referring to the Housewives franchise. This week, and the interesting thing is because I told my daughter about it, she did a little research, and the information I'm giving you is based on what she told me. Bethany Frankel from the Housewives of New York, probably one of the few. For one thing, I actually watched the first two seasons of that show, and for another thing, I actually don't know why she's on reality TV. I like her too much for that. But anyway, I didn't know that she had taken planes to Mexico for the earthquakes, to bring relief to the earthquakes victims. But the reason why I'm bringing her up is because she actually brought four planes to Puerto Rico and full of supplies. But that's not the only thing she did. And I'm pretty sure they're going to show this on the show or somewhere. But she actually took a translator and went into the town. She didn't stay in San Juan because that's one of the things that I'm criticizing of everybody. First of all, I want to clear up the fact that Guaynabo is not a suburb of anything. Guaynabo is its own town. It has its own mayor. So it's not really a suburb because I heard several reporters say Guaynabo suburb of San Juan. It's not. Second of all, I do agree that there's this thing we call, well, we all have it. We have metro areas, and they're not necessarily one town in particular. Sometimes they have two or three towns. In the case of Puerto Rico, the metro area has Carolina, San Juan, Bayamón, Guaynabo. I'm going to leave it at that. I know I'm missing somebody, but I don't care. The bottom line is that the metro area has several towns in it. And Guaynabo and San Juan happen to be the ones with the highest population, if you know what I mean. So taking the president to Guaynabo, not necessarily the best idea because he's not going to see. And by the way, it's not all of Guaynabo. There is a beautiful area in Guaynabo that is all hills and mountains and whatnot. And there's people of all socioeconomic standing there. Another example, for those of you who have seen Despacito, the barrio La Perla, where the video was filmed, That is a very low income area of San Juan. Both every town in Puerto Rico has a very low income area and a very nice income area. Okay. The difference is that in the case of Guaynabo, we even have a nickname for it that I'm not gonna say because then this video will get flagged. Even though I'm not monetizing the videos, I just don't like to use offensive language. But we do have a very ugly name for Guaynabo, just based on the fact that the people that are rich live there. So Guaynabo has a very affluent community. You take him to obviously a nice neighborhood in Guaynabo where the damage is minimal. He's not gonna understand the plight. Now, that doesn't mean he's also not at fault. I personally think he is at fault because he could have said, no, you need to take me where there's actual damage. And all they had to do was take him in a helicopter and fly him not even 10 miles off San Juan, and he would have seen really ugly damage. But they didn't do it, and at this point, I don't know who to blame. I don't know if I should blame the governor, or the issue with the mayor of San Juan, or the stupidity of the White House staff. I really don't know, and I don't care. The bottom line is that they need money, they need supplies, they need things. So Bethany, going back to Bethany Frankel, Bethany took a translator and she actually went to towns where there was actual need. And she took supplies to those towns and she was pretty shocked by what she saw. In the case of Luis Fonsi, who did Despacito, Luis Fonsi flew in a plane with, and I don't know all the names because especially the sports people, I don't know much about sports. I know that I wouldn't know about them anyway because most of them were Yankees and I really don't like the Yankees. It's my husband's favorite team. But anyway, the flight where Luis Fonsi was, it was Luis Fonsi, Ricky Martin, Nicky Jam, Chayanne. Of course, I would know who that is. Um, those are the kids that came out of my era. Ricky Martin and Chayanne were in competing boy bands, and anyway, Bernie Williams, Jorge Posada, and his wife. Those I recognize, but there were other people. There were other sports people, and more interesting to me than all of those people, because all the people I just mentioned are Puerto Rican. There was Emilio and Gloria Estefan were on that flight. Now, Emilio and Gloria Estefan are Cuban, but I have always said that they are very nice to Puerto Rican singers because they know that Puerto Rico had a lot to do with their eventual success in the U.S. market. I have always believed that. I don't know if they believe themselves, but I think that's part of the reason why they're so good. I mean, they're really good to all Hispanic artists, so I have to say what they deserve is the Estefans to me have been very influential in making a lot of people stars, but they kind of sort of take to the Puerto Ricans. I don't know if it's because we have this poem that says that we are two birds of a feather, basically, Puerto Rico and Cuba, or if it's because they know that the fans they have in Puerto Rico are true blue. I mean, people in Puerto Rico love Gloria and the Miami, and what used to be the Miami Sound Machine. I don't know if they call it that anymore, but they were on the flight and they came to bring all kinds of goodies. Now, Ricky Martin has a foundation and he just decided to take one side of his foundation and devote it to this. So I'm not surprised he did that. The other ones, well, I don't know if they have foundations or not. I'm pretty sure Emilio and Gloria do, but the other ones I honestly don't know. Sorry, I'm not right. Jorge Posada has a foundation, but I believe it has to do with a disease. But the bottom line is that they all went and showed up and actually took stuff to people that actually needed it. They got out of San Juan and went looking for people that needed help. As far as reality stars, going back to reality stars, I always say his name wrong, so I'm not gonna say the full name. But he's the guy that does the show with the entrepreneurs on MSNBC. Marcus Lemon something. I don't know if it's Lemony. I don't know how to say it. Lemonis. I don't know. You all know who I'm talking about, and I'm not going to make a fool of myself. But I like him. He's a good guy. I actually saw him 6 hours ago making a video about the actual situation and what the issues were in Puerto Rico right now. And he's talking about something that I've been talking about for weeks, and it's the 2 weeks. Actually, no, because when Irma came, even though it didn't get hit as bad, I was saying it. We already have a gigantic influx of Puerto Ricans coming to the U.S. because we are U.S. citizens, so we can travel to the U.S. without anything. We're going to see a lot more of that now. Which is why I don't get why Donald Trump was so dismissive of Puerto Rico, because we already have 5 million people here that are either Puerto Rican or Puerto Rican descent who vote, and the average Puerto Rican did not appreciate what happened on Tuesday. And second of all, because there's going to be a lot more of us here in the next few months, and even though people say, yeah, we're coming back, chances are it's going to take them 3 or 4 or 5 years to go back. Because once you get used to reality here, as opposed to the reality you lived back on the island, the people that are going to go back are the people that don't find a really good job quick. But the ones that find a relatively good job that they can make ends meet and start going up, those people are not going to go back. And I'm telling you, because the first time I came here, I was 21 years old, and I didn't want to leave. I left. I stayed in Puerto Rico for like 17 years, and then I said, no, I can't do this. Here's the thing with Puerto Rico. And I know I'm going on a tangent. I'm going to go back to the celebrities in a minute. But I just want you to understand Puerto Rico a little better. Thing in Puerto Rico is, and I've always said this, and economists can tell me I'm wrong. They can kiss my butt, because I actually live in Puerto Rico. I know how it feels to not have any money in your pocket. When we are in a recession in the United States, Puerto Rico's usually been there for 3 years, had a recession for 3 years before we get a recession in the U.S. And then when the U.S. gets out of a recession, it takes about 2 or 3 years for Puerto Rico to recover. So by the time we go to the next recession, they're already in the recession. I have personally not seen Puerto Rico out of a recession in the last 25 years. And not getting into the specifics of the debt in Puerto Rico, and not getting into the issue of the Jones Act. Actually, I am going to get into the issue of the Jones Act. I want you all to understand something. Because this came up in a conversation I was having on a Facebook group. Somebody said to me that it was not, that we were just idiots because we stayed on the island because everything was expensive. Well, duh, it's an island. And I was like, no, you're not getting the point. We understand that because things are shipped to Puerto Rico, there is going to be a little charge for that. But we get charged double and triple. And people say it's about 40%. No, it's more. I'm going to give you the example I gave this person. You buy my favorite chocolate bar in the planet is a Girardelli dark chocolate caramel. No sea salt. Yes, this message is for Girardelli. Stop putting sea salt on the dark chocolate caramel bars, because I can't buy those. But anyway, going back to the thing. That the average price of the Girardelli chocolate bar here in the United States is $2.49. And has been like that since I got here. I think it's gone up 30 cents in the 8 years I've been in the United States. When I got here from Puerto Rico, I used to pay $4 and change for that same exact bar in Puerto Rico. Because we can only get shipments from the U.S. Now, mind you, Girardelli is an American product, so it makes sense that it would be shipped by an American company. But I can go down the line and mention a lot of things that are not American, but they have to travel here to then travel to Puerto Rico. Okay? That makes no sense. There is no competition. Other countries cannot go and send their wares to Puerto Rico without going through the United States, because it has to come in on a shipping container with the American flag. That is part of the Jones Act. What is not necessarily part of the Jones Act, but becomes part of the Jones Act basically by proxy, is the fact that we get a tax on all those products, obviously, and then we get a shipping tax, and then we get a tariff, and on top of that we get whatever the company wants to charge for taking the stuff out of the shipment containers and whatever. Basically, you're paying ridiculous amounts of money for something that you can get here for $2.49. I was in Puerto Rico for 3 months in 2015. I basically would tell my husband, and I had a friend that did this too. They would get stuff from here, ship it to me through the mail because it was cheaper than if I bought the same stuff in Puerto Rico. Does that make sense to you? Because it doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, bottom line is that we are American citizens. We're treated like third-rate citizens, and the little visit by the president of the United States did not help that situation. Regardless of how you feel about the president, like him, don't like him, whatever, you have to be realistic in the sense that that was not his best performance, not at all. And I personally don't care for photo ops, so I really don't care if he shows up for the places where hurricanes happen. I just think that's a photo op that nobody needs. But the way this one was handled, I mean, when you're telling people they don't need flashlights when 95% of the country doesn't have electricity, that's crazy. And of course, for people that care about racism and all that kind of stuff, you know, you see the pictures in Florida where he was handing people stuff. See the people things in Texas where he was handing people stuff. But then you go to the pictures in Puerto Rico and he was throwing stuff at people. That did not sit well with a lot of people either. I personally didn't like it, but that's another story. Now going back to the celebrities. I mentioned Marcus. I mentioned, celebrity chef, Jose Andres. Jose Andres is a Spaniard that has a lot of businesses here in the United States. He has several restaurants in the United States. And I've always been a fan of him. I discovered him on TV, and ironically, I believe I met him when I was living in Puerto Rico. I'm not sure about that, but I know that I went to a place where he was the head chef, the owner, or whatever you want to call it. So when I actually started watching him on TV and I started looking at his bio, and I'm like, wait a minute, I've been here and I've been here, and I looked up pictures of him younger, I was like, I have a feeling I've met this guy. But the bottom line is that he's a celebrity chef. He went to Puerto Rico with a bunch of other chefs, and they've been cooking hot meals all over the island. So he actually knows what it's like. If you really want to know what it's like, I would rather you go to any celebrity, be it reality TV or actual like movie star, singer, whatever. Go to their websites and look at what they're doing for Puerto Rico and look at what they're showing you. Because that is a lot more realistic than what you saw on the president's visit. That is the perspective of this 50-year-old. I would love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about the visit? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Why? Do you actually believe there's more need than what we saw on the news? And actually, I will say this. There is a young man by the name of, I want to say David Bernard. I don't know how to say his last name either. That young man stayed 17 days in Puerto Rico. He went to film the hurricane, and then he stayed for 2 weeks. That boy, you go to his Facebook page, you go anywhere where he has social media, and you see what he did. He was a better voice for Puerto Rico than anybody I've ever seen. Because I don't want to get into the politics of the governor, the mayor, whatever. Go and check his videos out and find out what really happened and what's really happening in Puerto Rico and how bad it really is. I just found out from him, because he did a segment on CBS this morning, that there is a hospital in Puerto Rico that they had to shut down because the grid faltered and they had not electricity. There's another hospital in Puerto Rico that it was explained in the news that they had to empty because they had some sort of smell coming out from the morgue. There's a lot of stuff going on in Puerto Rico that none of us know. And the reason why I prefer celebrities to the regular media and in this kind of event is because usually they give you, because they're so shocked that they give you the real scoop on what's going on. So if you can't donate, at least share the information so people know that what's really going on, and maybe we'll flood the media with the real stuff that's going on, social media, and maybe then the media will pay attention. Maybe they'll send David Bernard. And I realize that he might hate me for this because I'm pretty sure he's happy he's home, but we need more people like like Bernard, and we definitely need more people like the celebrities that are actually showing up now with their relief efforts. And we definitely need more relief. So I realize I'm in Florida, I'm not in Puerto Rico, and my funds are limited. But whenever I have like an extra dollar, I'll buy, like, if I buy 2 cans of soup, I'll give them one, just because we need to help them out. And that is what I like about celebrities in this case. Celebrities can actually open the doors and show you things that regular media will not. So thank you very much for watching, and have a wonderful day.